Here we are. It's beginning of February. We're about to do a quick little update on the fruit trees and see how everything's looking. Yeah, this year is jam-packed with some events that could have possibly led to a terrible season, but it seems like everything made it through. We had several big storms here in Central Florida. Everything pretty much survived that, and we had really pretty cold winters. I mean, nothing we haven't seen in the past, but definitely colder than the last few years. So this is the first mango we're gonna look at. This is Allenport Banishan. This is the tree that I got that was just like really lanky at the beginning of this season. So if you can see there, I actually cut it and then it resprouted. So I want the growth to come out lower. The growth, it was branching out at about like 5 feet. Now it's branching out right around like the 2 foot mark. So that's gonna be better for the long term. Morgan's enjoying the warm weather. All right, so we got some blooms here. It's kind of funky, like mixed bloom type of situation going on. Probably not gonna let this guy hold fruit, but yeah, it's trying to. We've got cat leg guava here that is trying to, well, not trying to, it's definitely producing, doing its thing. This tree is not a shy bearer by any means. It's in it's in a 15-gallon pot. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna put this one, but yeah, we'll figure that out eventually. This is a Silas Wood Sapodilla, also flowering and fruiting all at once. A little bit of cold damage, you can see, but nothing crazy. This tree, I like to keep my trees shorter. I also cut the leader, which was about 10 feet tall, cut it right to there so that we can keep this nice and short and bushy. This is in a 25-gallon pot. I pulled the fruit off of it about a week ago. That was delicious. Here's a 15-gallon seed crest mango. You can see it's also blooming. Blooms, I don't spray any of my trees. I don't put chemicals on anything. If they don't survive, they don't survive. I'll try another variety. I don't really have the time for it, and I also just don't like the idea of spraying chemicals in my yard. I don't even let like the gardeners spray like for weeds or anything like that. I don't know, it just weirds me out. I don't want all those chemicals on my property. So yeah, this tree's trying to do its thing, trying to flower. It's pretty big. I don't know, I might let it hold a couple of fruit. Got a nice sized trunk. The canopy was actually much bigger, but it was really lanky, so when I got it, I trimmed it pretty good. This is a 3-gallon Ronnie from Lara Farms. Julian over at Lara Farms, he's got some of the best avocado varieties. I tried the Ronnie in one of his like sampler boxes, and it blew me away. It's like super dense and creamy, and it's supposed to be a decent producer. Not bad for a 3-gallon, and Julian charges quite a bit for his 3 gallons, and then you got to pay shipping as well, because he's pretty much the only person who's got this variety, so you got to pay a little extra, but this avocado is definitely worth it. This branch is kind of long and lanky. I would probably cut this short, but we're just gonna let it do its thing for now. Yeah, he's got a few avocados that I've tried that only he has, as far as I'm aware, that are pretty awesome. The improved Pollock I tried last year, and that was really good too. So I got a little tree of that, and then he sent one recently called the Expedition avocado. I think there might be other places that have it, but he's the only one I've seen that like consistently produces trees of it, and it's really good, like avocado. Like you hear everybody talking about like Oro Negro and Campong and all these avocados, which are good. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but in my opinion, the Ronnie and the Expedition are both far better. This is a little Ruby Supreme guava tree. This tree has been knocked down twice, different storms, once last year and once this year, and I've just kind of like uprighted it, and it just keeps doing its thing. It hasn't fruited for me yet, or flowered for that matter, but hopefully this upcoming season it does something. I love guava, but I only have well, I guess the Cali guava as well, but that's a little bit different. But I only have one of these because I want to make sure we don't get a ton of worms here in Central Florida, and then if this fruits and it doesn't get a bunch of worms, I might get another guava tree. This is a San Pablo custard apple, which they usually go dormant in the winter, and I pulled most of the leaves off and trimmed it up so that once it's ready to go, it'll have a better structure. This is a coconut cream. You can see it's pushing something, yeah. This tree here had a branch that came out over here and was a lot fuller than it is now. But one of the hurricanes that we had, I think it was Milton, snapped it. But yeah, it's pushing. I actually wouldn't mind if it decided to grow, but considering the weather we've had lately, it might bloom. I'm not sure. Like this one here, definitely. I don't know. I can't really tell at this stage, to be honest. Yeah, I'd prefer for it to just keep growing and then have a good year next year, but I might try to bloom. We'll see. This is an orange sherbet that is also pushing. It's got panicles on it. It's blowing up like crazy. I tried grafting onto here, and here. This tree was much more full before I decided to do my little grafting experiment. These two grafts died. This one, I don't know. It's like barely holding on, but it's yeah, I can't even remember the name of the variety. Oh, I'm sorry. It's lemon zest. That's what I put on there. I've heard lemon zest doesn't really do that good here in Central Florida, or in most places for that matter. So I figured we'd try a graft on the orange sherbet and see how it does, but it might not have taken. The Sri Lankan weevils are just totally tearing up my trees, but we're letting them do their thing. If I see them, I just squash them, but yeah, this is a pretty good tree, size tree. I mean, probably could hold fruit if I wanted to let it hold. So here we have a Oro Negro avocado that hasn't really grown much ever since I planted it. It looks fine. It's a little bit see the dusty because I just laid down this concrete foundation over here. But yeah, it looks like it's pushing something. You know, it's doing got something going on here. Might be flowers, might be fruit. I don't know. This is Venus mango, and out of all my mango trees, this one probably gets hit the hardest by the weevils. But the tree doesn't really seem to mind all that much. Got a good amount of flowers on it. Kind of a short, stocky tree. Got a decent sized trunk on it. You see some of these flowers have like what looks like maybe a little bit of powdery mildew. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna let them do their thing. Really pretty. Mango flowers on some trees are really attractive. Not always. Sometimes they're a little bit darker, but they have this like contrasting red and yellow. But it's really pretty. So you'll see some bigger trees filled with flowers that are quite something. So this is Super Alfonso here. This tree also got knocked down, not completely, but like to like a 30-degree angle off the ground by the hurricane. It was a recent planting, and I stood it back up, and it seems to be fine. It's pushing blooms. Tried grafting on a few different parts of it. And none of them survived the hurricanes. I had like a maybe 50% rate on some of the grafting experiments I did, and I think only 2 or 3 grafts survived the hurricanes. But yeah, this tree, Super Alfonso, is looking really good. This is a Catalina avocado. I'm not the biggest fan of Catalina, but my mom gave me this tree. Maybe I'll graft onto it eventually. The tree itself, it's still pretty small, but it's pushing as well, trying to do something. But yeah, Catalina, it's okay. It's not a bad avocado, especially if you're eating it like salt and vinegar and a little bit of olive oil. But I've heard this from a few people, like I get like a weird aftertaste, like a bitter aftertaste from it. Not everybody does apparently, but I certainly do, and I don't love that. Here we have CAC or CAC mango, blooming like crazy. Kind of a borderline tree as to whether or not I'm gonna let it hold fruit, but I know CAC is a vigorous grower, so I might let it just go ahead and hold fruit and try to slow it down a little bit. A little bit of darkness too. Check out, look at this little weevil right here. There it goes. Yeah, there's a little bit of darkness to some of these blooms, so maybe it's some sort of powdery mildew or something like that trying to take hold. But yeah, we're just gonna let it do its thing and see how it performs. You know, if they don't perform great, it's okay. We'll either graft onto them or just replace them with something else that will perform good. This field behind my house is not mine. This is a abandoned golf course. But yeah, it would be really good to plant along this field, but I don't think I can. This is a fruit punch mango, and you can see it's super covered in blooms. Look at the honeybee right there, flying around pollinating. There's a wasp up there. Yeah, they're pollinating nicely. This is a sunrise graft. I tried sunrise this year and really liked it. It took, not only did it take, it also decided to bloom on the one little branch. So that's kind of funny. It almost looks like that graft is barely holding on, but it survived 2 hurricanes. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just letting it do its thing, and it's blooming like crazy right below the graft line. So yeah, I'm just letting it do its thing. Again, this tree also has like mild signs of powdery mildew, but it's just gonna have to do its thing. The size of that wasp. You guys that don't know, I'm like fairly allergic to wasp things. But you know, they usually don't bother you. You don't bother them. Oh, look at that cute little ladybug. Ladybugs are actually predators. I don't think they're. I mean, I'm sure they pollinate incidentally, but they're not known pollinators, I don't think. There's flies on this tree as well, which are probably the best pollinators for mango trees. This side of the tree's got less blooms, but it still has blooms. These are also inferior branches. But yeah, this tree is pretty big. Probably let it. Well, actually, yeah, I'm definitely gonna let this tree hold fruit. And so I trimmed this tree pretty heavily, around March maybe, and it's like, seems like, you know, all the branches I trimmed have like multiple panicles coming out. Like this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different panicles coming out the tip. So yeah, I don't know if that's got, like, if that's something we can try to replicate, you know, like trimming branches like closer to the blooming season to try to get more panicles. I don't know. I have to look into that. But yeah, I don't know exactly. So maybe some of you guys can tell me. Like, I'm assuming probably just one panicle is going to hold fruit on this branch, but I guess maybe multiple panicles on the branch can hold fruit. I'm not really sure how that works. I haven't paid attention to that, to be honest. This is the that little improved pollock that I got from Lara Farms. This is a Maria Black avocado. Pretty good tasting avocado. Nice and creamy. This is a Monroe. Decent avocado. It's not amazing, but it's a good solid avocado, and it's a really heavy producer. Yeah, you gotta balance things out. I eat a lot of avocados, so does my family, so more avocados is always a plus. Like Oro Negro over there, it's a really good avocado, really tasty. Definitely like within like the top 10 for me. But it's not supposed to be the best producer, so you gotta supplement something like that with a really solid average tasting avocado that also produces really well. So back here we've got these giant oak trees. They provide quite a bit of shade back here. So I've got some jabos and miracle fruit back here. Probably got space for more, but for now I want to see how the jabos do before I invest more in stuff, because they're kind of expensive and they grow really slow. So this is a miracle fruit, and this is another miracle fruit. The leaves on them are different, so I'm assuming it's like a different variety. But I've gotten a ton of fruit off of this one. And this one's a new addition, which I haven't gotten any fruit off of yet, but it's definitely big enough to make fruit pretty easily. This is a red hybrid Jabo. All my Jabos got chlorotic on me a while ago, so I hit them with some chelated iron, and that seemed to bring them back. But yeah, I don't know, they don't look great to me. I feel like they could use a little more leaves on them. So I don't know, maybe now when it starts to warm up a little bit more, I'll hit them with some fertilizer, and that'll get them excited again. So yeah, sorry, this is a Sabra, and this guy is another red hybrid. This guy's actually thrown out like 2 or 3 little flowers here and there, but they've all fallen off. But you see what I mean? Like these branches, they look pretty bare. I don't know, maybe they're not getting enough sun. The sun rises over there, that's the east. And then these big oak trees, like, they provide obviously shade. You can actually see the sun through the canopy there. In the winter time, the sun is sitting a little bit flatter over there, and then in the summertime, the sun is more centered up here. And then the house is on that side, so they get a decent amount of sun. But I've heard Jabos, they can actually tolerate quite a bit of shade. So I don't know. We'll see how they do. So there's a big magnolia tree. These are just like orchids and that sort of thing. This is the other side of the house. I have a San Pablo custard apple again. This guy flowered a ton this last season, but it didn't set any fruit, or hold on to any fruit for that matter. Probably big enough to do so, but I don't know. I tried hand pollinating it quite a bit, and it didn't work. So I've heard throwing some rotten fruit underneath it will help bring the beetle that is really good at pollinating this tree. So I've started doing that already, just so they can get established. This is an ice cream mango tree, which when I got this tree, it had like no root system. It had really bad root rot. The soil in the pot was just not good, and it had a ton of die-off from that. But I put it in the ground, and it's recovering. It's throwing out random little blooms here and there, and actually it's pushing all sorts of stuff. So this is one that I'm not gonna let hold on to fruit. A sugarloaf mango is also blooming like crazy. It's kind of a smaller tree, so probably not gonna let this guy hold any fruit either, but it's certainly trying to. So let's check that out. Just beautiful little flowers. I've heard that sugarloaf tends to produce a lot of male flowers, and when it's younger, most of these flowers are still closed, but I'm not great at telling them apart, but yeah, I don't know, to me these all kind of look like male flowers. But yeah, anyways, I'm probably not gonna let it hold fruit anyways. This is an acerola cherry we have here. This is more of like a vitamin tree for me. I don't really enjoy the fruit that much. It's kind of very mild and tasteless, and big seeds for the size of the fruit, but It's got the highest vitamin C content of any fruit or berry out there. So just popping one of them a day gives you like several times the amount of your daily required vitamin C. So yeah, it's like a vitamin fruit. When it's fruiting, I'll just grab one and eat one. Got some pineapples here. Over here we have a honeykiss tree, which I also tried grafting onto. And hurricane knocked this one off, and this one stayed on. This is a cotton candy, which is like similar taste to honeykiss, but a much more vigorous tree. So what I did was I put it on, so there's this big magnolia tree here on this side. So this side of this tree gets quite a bit of shade, so I put the more vigorous growing variety on the shade side to control it a little bit. But I wouldn't mind if cotton candy eventually takes over. It's a superior fruit in my opinion. As long as it produces well, I'll let it take over honeykiss. Which honeykiss is a good fruit too, and it produces really well, and it's fairly disease resistant. But if cotton candy does well, I like the cotton candy fruit better personally. So yeah, this tree is flowering quite a bit as well. But you can see the flowers on the honeykiss aren't as vibrant as like the fruit punch we saw. Still pretty, but the fruit punch had like a more contrast. This is a white Paris. This is an excellent mango. Still kind of small, so probably not gonna let it hold fruit, but this is the northwest side of my property. So it's the coldest side. We got down pretty cold. And it also doesn't really have much protection on this side. It's got my neighbor's oak tree over there, which provides some protection. And I guess the road is decently close to it. But other than that, it's pretty bare on here. So yeah, we got down to like 33-ish, and this tree didn't seem to sustain any damage. So that's good. The only tree that sustained damage was my mango tree on the northeast side, which is the one we started with, and it was minimal. So yeah, none of the blooms died, even though most of these trees were already blooming when we got down into the 30s, and the flowers seemed fine, but the blooms were a little bit on the younger side, so maybe that's what kept them protected. But yeah, this is the only damage I can see. I noticed this tree some of these leaves browned out after the cold. None of my trees were covered. But yeah, so that's what this year brings us. I think that's it. This is Mango Row right here. Actually, there's more than just mangoes, but that's what I call it. This is also where I practice archery. So yeah, let's see how many of these trees decide to hold on to fruit, and I'll update probably during the fruiting season and see what I decided to let hold on to fruit, and what and how much everything is producing. All right, Joe. Bye.